Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm Bette
Thank you.
McCarthy. I'm the chair of the Barnstable Old Kings Highway Committee, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. This meeting of the Old Kings Highway Historic District Committee is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable Government Access Channel in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20. The chair must inquire if anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, would they please make their presence known? Okay. Since there are no other recordings, we can continue. So to all persons deemed interested or affected by the Town of Barnstable Old Kings Highway Historic District Act under Section 9, Chapter 470, Acts of 1973 as amended, you are hereby notified that a hearing will be held tonight on the applications listed on the agenda for December 18th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. This meeting will be handled remotely, and we'd like to remind all applicants and audience members that we are an elected volunteer committee, and we follow the guidelines of the Town of Barnstable Old Kings Highway Historic District Act. And any applicant or interested party who's aggrieved by a decision of this committee, they have a right to appeal the decision to the Old Kings Highway Regional Historic Commission. We ask that during this evening's proceedings, cell phones be turned off and conversations other than those before the committee take place outside of this remote meeting. When an applicant is called, we ask that the applicant and all interested parties identify themselves. And lastly, as best practices for meetings that are held remotely, we may not always be able to visually identify who's speaking. So we ask all committee members and participants to identify themselves before making any motion or comments. Our online audience members wishing to participate during the public comment section of the hearing can use the raised hand button to notify the chair. Dial-in audience members wishing to participate during the public comment section of the hearing should press *9 on their phones to notify the chair. So all participants will be muted, and you must be recognized by the chair in order to participate. So our first order of business this evening is to have a roll call. So we'll start with that. Leslie Wallace.
Here.
Ryan Caholen.
Here.
Wendy Shuck.
Here.
And Bette McCarthy here. So we'll now address our applications. And our first application is for Parry Sevra, 9 Locust Avenue, West Barnstable, map 197, parcel 026, built in 1960, to construct a 12 by 24 addition to the right elevation, all materials to match the existing. So now we need to open a public hearing for this application.
This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to open the public hearing.
Leslie Wallace, I'll second.
Thank you. And a roll call vote. Leslie Wallace.
Aye.
Ryan Caholen.
Aye.
Wendy Shuck.
Aye.
And Bette McCarthy. Aye. So would the applicant like to discuss their addition?
This is Parry Sevra, and I think we submitted drawings. It's a very simple addition to the right side of the property, which I believe will balance out the property as well as provide us with some additional living space. And the intention is to match all of the materials that are currently used in the house. The house was updated in 2022, 2023, so we'd be using similar to the best we can, exactly the same windows and all of the other materials, paint colors, roof materials, etc. So I think that.
Could I make one comment? And that is, when you introduced the project, you said 12 by 24. It's actually 12 by 14.
14. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Well, it would make a difference.
Yeah, I misread that. Okay.
Excuse me.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
correcting that.
Thank you. I believe that's all I have to offer, unless there are questions.
Okay. All right. Well, we'd now like the committee to make comments. So let's see. Leslie, do you have any comments regarding this application?
I think it looks good and it does balance the both sides. The roof line seems to be the same, and 12 by 14 isn't all that big, so it should be nice. And the windows look like they go too. I'm fine with this.
Great. All right. Ryan, would you like to comment on this?
Sure. I think what's proposed is appropriate. I think it's a good use of the space, the property you have available. I watched that property get updated a couple of years ago, so happy to see it complete, because I agree with Leslie and certainly the proponent. I think it's going to balance it out nicely. I think you're lucky where your septic system ended up, so full advantage of it. But no, I think it's appropriate. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ryan. Wendy.
Yes, I agree with both Ryan and Leslie. I think it looks great. The addition on the house, the materials blend very nicely. It's a modest size addition, so I don't have any other comments. I think it's very appropriate.
Great. Thanks, Wendy. And then this is Beth. I was by the property. I think the addition is very appropriate, and using all the same materials to match the existing is perfect. And I don't have any comments beyond that. Do we have any members of the public, any neighbors or anybody wishing to comment? Is there anybody? Erica?
This is Erica Brown. I do not see anyone from the public wishing to speak to this item at this time.
Okay, very good. So then we can close the public hearing section.
Sure, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to close the public hearing.
Leslie Wallace, second.
And a roll call vote. Leslie Wallace.
Aye.
Ryan Caholen.
Aye.
Wendy Shuck.
Aye.
And Beth McCarthy, aye. So now we need a motion to approve the application.
Okay, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to approve the certificate of appropriateness application for Perry Sevra, 9 Locust Avenue, West Barnstable, map 197, parcel 026, built 1960, as submitted.
Leslie Wallace, second.
All right, and a roll call vote. Wendy Shuck.
Aye.
Ryan Caholen.
Aye.
Leslie Wallace.
Aye.
And Beth McCarthy, aye. So your application is approved, and good luck with your addition.
And this is Perry Sevra. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're
Very
welcome.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, same to you. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Thank you. All right. Our next application is for Nancy and Michael Furry of 2874 Main Street, Barnstable, map 279, parcel 090. built in 1904 to replace a rear window with a larger window to match the existing style. And then the glass dimensions, I believe they were upgraded and changed. On the agenda, I have 45 and a quarter by 41 and an eighth. So we need to open a public hearing for this application.
This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to open the public hearing.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. A roll call vote. Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy. Aye. So we now need the applicant to discuss this window replacement.
Hi, this is Sarah Fecto. I'm speaking on behalf of Sylvia and Sylvia. We're doing the work for the Furies for this project. The window we're looking to replace, as you can see, it's that small square window right there, visible from Beale Way. Currently, it's roughly 30 by 30 inches. And as you said, the proposed window would be about 45 inches by 41 inches. I think there was a quarter in there maybe. The frame will still be black. The material around it, the surrounding trim would be white to match all the other existing windows.
Okay. Any comments from the committee then? Leslie?
Well, it is in the back and I like it. I think it'll look better. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Ryan?
I think it's appropriate.
Very good. Wendy?
Yeah, just one question. So is it just a single pane of glass that's in there? Like the window to the right, looks like it's maybe 3 panes. Is this just one single pane?
Yes, it's one single pane. It's a stationary, think of like a picture window. It's just one pane.
Okay. And then that window to the right, how big is that one? Like, I'm just trying to get a sense of scale. Is that bigger than the 45 by 41?
The one the little hand is on right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's bigger.
Okay.
I don't know the exact measurements of that one, but that one's bigger. We're just making it more of a rectangular.
Okay. And will it be centered on that window? Is that what the plan is, to center on the bigger window?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's on the back of the house. It's certainly not visible from 6A. I don't, other than the yacht club traffic that goes up and down that road in the summertime, it's not a real busy thoroughfare. So I'm fine with this proposal.
Okay. Thank you. And this is Pat. And I also agree with the committee comments that the replacement window is appropriate. And again, it's on the back side of the home and it's barely visible. So do we have any public comments in the
Chair, this is Erica Brown. I do not see anyone wishing to speak to this item at this time.
All right. So then we need to close the, since there were no public comments, close the public hearing.
This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to close the public hearing.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. And a roll call vote. Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy. Aye. So now we need a motion.
Sure. This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to approve the certificate of appropriateness application for Michael and Nancy Fury, 2874 Main Street, Barnstable, map 279, parcel 090, built 1904, as submitted.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy. So very good. The application for the window replacement is approved.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you
Our
very
next
much.
Our next application is for Susan and Richard Bloom of 2644 Main Street, Barnstable, map 258, parcel 006, built in 1840, to install a flush-mounted solar system on the west side of the home. So now we need to open a public hearing.
Yep, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to open the public hearing.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Brian Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy. Aye. So now, would the Blooms like to discuss their application for solar?
I am here with Beacon Solar, the company installing the system for the Blooms. I don't know if they're on the meeting right now. So we're proposing a solar array on the east side of the property. I'm sorry, the west side of the property, and we're also proposing 2 batteries to go along with the system.
Okay. Does that pretty much conclude your remarks?
Yeah, really not much
Okay.
to say. I mean, the pictures kind of tell a
All
thousand.
right.
So yeah.
Then why don't we have some committee comments regarding this? Leslie Wallace.
Yep, I love the color of the house. It's cool. The only thing I went by, it's a great house. But the first part, although there's bushes in the front, as you're looking at the house, the first part with the solar on I think it's the left, no way it can be put someplace else. I don't think you could see the other 2 solar sprays, but that one, yeah, can it go any other place, like behind the front of the house rather than on the side?
You know, yeah, we could look at that. We may have to shrink the system a little bit. Obviously, those roof planes get the most radiance, so it's the most efficient place to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we could, entertain.
Because the other ones, I don't think you'd see.
Right. Yeah, you definitely wouldn't see those.
No.
Yeah, where that chimney sticks up, you're correct.
Yeah, that's the only one that, and you'd see it just from going from Barnstable to West Barnstable. And the house is kind of close to the road. I mean, it's not set way, way back. Yeah. I don't know if you could do that. I think I'd be happier. And the rest, the 2 other, I think you couldn't see at all.
Yeah, you can't see those from the street. You're correct.
No.
All right, let us, yeah, it's gonna be a little tight there. We could probably get half of those over there, possibly.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, what does everybody else think?
Yeah, I agree with Leslie. I think, Erica, can you go to that diagram that has those roof lines numbered? I think there's one, there.
Yeah.
So I think that roof number 1 array, will be for sure visible from 6A, I think as you're traveling east. Roof 2, not so much. I think the pitch is such that really you probably wouldn't be able to see it. And then the other 2 are kind of tucked behind the house. So I'm fine with 2, 3, and 4, but agree with Leslie if we could place the panels from roof 1 somewhere else that's less visible. I think that would be preferable from my perspective.
So they would probably go on that back roof plane where to the right of conduit run.
Yes, that's
right
what I
there.
was.
Yeah, that'd be tucked away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we were to accommodate that, would we need to come back to you guys, or can we do some type of, would you need to have another hearing to see a revised drawing or what?
Do you think you can do it?
Yeah, I don't know if we can get all of them. The
Yeah.
system's designed right now for 100% offset, so we'd have to, talk to the customer. But I'm looking at it just visually, I can see we could probably get, at least 4 of the modules over there. So if we lose
Yeah.
3, I think we'd be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would definitely go for that if you could do it.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. Ryan, do you want to comment?
I agree with the comments. I would struggle with roof one being populated. And to your question about what should happen here, if it was me, I would probably take it back to the homeowner and poll them before we make any commitments tonight.
Okay.
Just my opinion. But, I think that's the only roof that I know I would struggle with. 2, 3, 4, the opposite side of 2, you do whatever you'd like.
Yep. How often do you guys meet as far as like getting this project moving? So if we were to relocate, it'll take us literally like 20 minutes to generate a new plan. That's not the issue. And I'm sure the customer would be amenable when we show them the offset. It's just kind of getting it back in front of the board and how long that process would be, just so we can give them a timeline.
This is Erica Brown. Our next meeting is January 8th.
Okay. And the
All right.
agenda is pretty good on that one?
This would be a continued item, so it would be heard first.
Okay. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the agendas are good, sir.
Yeah. They are good. You're right. Good, Pat.
And, this is Bet, and I also concur with the committee. I have issues with the panels on the front portion. There are 9 there, and they are the most visible. And I think if you can find ways to increase in other areas, I think that would be much more appropriate.
Okay.
So, Erica, do we need to open a public hearing since we will continue this for the next meeting?
If there is any public comment, I would take it now, just in case they can't make the next meeting. But
okay.
So if anyone has public comment, if you could please raise your hand concerning this project. Chair, this is Erica Brown. I don't see anyone wishing to speak to this item at this time.
Okay. All right. So since there's no member of the public wishing to comment, we should keep the public hearing section open for the next time. So
Correct.
We just need a motion to continue this application to our meeting on January 8th.
Perfect.
This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to continue the certificate of appropriateness application for Richard and Susan Bloom, 2644 Main Street, Barnstable, map 258, parcel 006, built 1840, to the meeting to be held January 8th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. And it would be a remote meeting.
All right.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. And a roll call vote. Leslie Wallace.
Aye.
Ryan Caholen.
Aye.
Wendy Shuck.
Aye.
And Bette McCarthy, aye. So we will look forward to hearing your revisions at the next meeting in January.
Perfect. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a good holiday.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right. Our next application is for Justine Osage Longern, 91 Calf's Pasture Lane, Barnstable, map 259, parcel 001/003, built in 2003, to remove the cedar roof on the main house and garage and to install a metal roofing in weathered zinc color. So we need to open a public hearing for this application.
Yep, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to open the public hearing.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Brian Caholen,
Aye.
and Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Bette McCarthy. So then is the applicant available to discuss their changing their roof?
Chair, this
Erica?
is Erica Brown. I do not see the applicant on. If you'd like, we could move this item to the last item and I can try to contact the applicant.
All right. So then we will just continue that and we will move on to the others. The next application is asked for continuance. So should we open that for this evening?
I would read in the item and I would ask that Wendy then make a motion to move to continue the item to the January 8th meeting as requested.
I'm sorry, we could continue that.
If you just want to read in the item first and then Wendy can make a motion to continue.
Okay, very good. All right. The next application is for Margaret and Frank Andriakis, 50 First Way, Barnstable, map 301, parcel 046, built in 1974 to construct a new 30 by 64 by 30 home as modified.
Okay.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. And a roll call vote. Leslie
Point of
Wallace.
order.
Yes.
Point of order that you just read in the item. Wendy, I need you to make a motion and then
Yeah.
we can second
Okay.
it.
All right.
Yep.
Then we'll
Sorry.
make a motion. Okay.
This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to continue the certificate of appropriateness application for Frank and Margaret Andriakis, 51st Way, Barnstable, map 301, parcel 046, built in 1974, to the meeting to be held on January 8th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. And it's a remote meeting.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. And a roll call vote. Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
Brian Caholen,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
and Bette McCarthy. Aye. So we will our next item was removed from our agenda. So we'll move on to the next one. And
Point of
that's
order,
for
Bette.
Barnstable Fire District, 1841 Finney's Lane, Barnstable, map 277, parcel 006, built in 1940. And it's for the demolition of the existing water department buildings. So we need to open a public hearing for this demolition.
Okay. Erica, did we need to do anything for that withdrawn application?
We'll
For
come
the
back to it after, Wendy.
demolition?
It's okay.
Okay, all right. Let's see. So yes, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to open the public hearing.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
And a roll call vote. Brian Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
and Bette McCarthy. Aye. So we now need the applicant to discuss the demolition of the water department building.
Sure. Good evening. My name is Chris Beal. I'm the fire chief of the Barnstable Fire Department, and we have a permit to demolish the three structures on site at 1851 Finney's Lane in order to build a new fire station for the Barnstable Fire Department.
Okay.
And this is Steve Rizzo. I am the owner's project manager for the project, and I am the signee of the application. The site exists at 1841. It is currently the water department for the Barnstable Fire District. We will be relocating. The intent is to relocate them temporarily into temporary space while we construct the new fire station, and ultimately they will go into the existing fire department building that's on Main Street on Route 6A. The building itself that we're proposing to demolish was built originally in 1940, and it's been renovated multiple times over the years. There are 3 structures on the site. The L-shaped building that you see in the photographs, you can see there's a garage on this wing that comes towards you in this photograph. That's a 2-car garage where they service their service vehicles. The door in front of you goes into the office spaces. And that shed that's in the back actually accesses down into the basement. There's a partial basement below the building. And in the front of the building is the reception and area where the receptionist sits on the right side of the door. The left side of the door, there's a bathroom and the garage. So there's very little. The building itself is mostly garage space and some office space. All the district office files and activities are managed in the office. Those functions will relocate to the existing fire station when the project is done. At the back of the building, Eric, if you want to scroll down some, there are 2 outbuildings. Keep going down a little bit further, Eric. This garage type building here is a building that was built to house the antique fire engine that the fire department owns. It's temporarily housed in there. This is the engine that they use during the 4th of July parades. This building will come down, and then you see to the right of that is a shed storage building, which will also come down. There's the shed storage building. All of this other material will be moved to various sites. Some will go to the water department wellheads, and some will go to wherever the temporary home is for the water department until such time as they move to the existing firehouse.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that complete summary of the demolition. Would the committee like to make their comments? Ryan, would you like to discuss the demolition of this, the water department buildings?
I have no comments at this time. I think it's appropriate.
Okay. Leslie Wallace?
I agree.
All right. Wendy Schuck?
Yeah, I mean, our criteria is whether there's any architectural or historical significance to the building, and I don't believe there is. Architecturally, nothing there, and historically, I don't believe there's anything. So it's okay with me.
All right. Thank you. And this is Pat McCarthy, and I think the demolition application is appropriate. So are there any members of the public wishing to discuss the demolition?
Chair, this is Erica Brown. I do not see anyone wishing to speak to the demolition at this time.
Okay. So we can close the public hearing.
Yep, this is Wendy Schuck, and I move to close the public hearing.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. A roll call vote. Ryan Caholen.
Aye.
Leslie Wallace.
Aye.
Wendy Schuck.
Aye.
And Beth McCarthy. Aye. So now we need a motion to approve the demolition of the water department buildings.
Okay, this is Wendy Schuck, and I move to approve the demolition application for the Barnstable Fire District, 1841 Finney's Lane, Barnstable, map 277, parcel 006, built 1940, as submitted.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. And a roll call vote. Ryan Caholen.
Aye.
Leslie Wallace.
Aye.
Wendy Schuck.
Aye.
And Beth McCarthy. So we have the demolition of the water department buildings approved.
Thank
All
you very
right.
much.
Thank you.
So our next application is for the Barnstable Fire District, 1841 Finney's Lane, Barnstable, map 277, parcel 006, built in 1940 to construct a new 30,000 square foot fire station with administrative offices in a residential area with 5-bay apparatus garage, including a maintenance bay, training area, and a training tower. So we need to open a public hearing for this application.
Yeah, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to open the public hearing.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. And a roll call vote. Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
and Bette McCarthy, aye. So now we need to have the applicant discuss the new fire department building.
Great. Thank you. My name is Chris Beal. I'm the fire chief of the Barnstable Fire Department. Along with Steve Rizzo, the owner's project manager for the Barnstable Fire District, and Ellen Light with Context Architecture, we're going to walk you through the plans to construct a 30,000 square foot fire station that will meet the needs of the fire department, our residents, and visitors for the next 50 to 75 years. The current station that we're in was built in 1935 and has been remodeled extensively over the last 89 years. The last time it was remodeled was in 1999. We have had a huge increase in our call volume and our staffing over the years, and we've outgrown the current station. So we started looking at building a new one, and we found that geographically, for response reasons, the location at 1841 Finney's Lane was the right place to build. We do own the land, and it would make it an easy move for us. We are looking to construct that and looking for permission from you tonight. And if you have any questions, Steve Rizzo, our owner's project manager, is here. And also Ellen Light with Context Architecture is here to present.
All right. Is the project manager wishing available to discuss?
Yep, this is Steve Rizzo, the owner's project manager. I'm actually going to let Ellen and the landscape architect who's also on the call if there's any questions about the site or the architecture. But and I'll let Ellen get into the architecture in just a minute. But as you can see from this site plan, we are on the north side of, well, I'll call it the north side of Finney's Lane. It's really sort of the west side. The north arrow at the top of the drawing gives you the orientation. But the garage itself is on the right-hand side. You can see the wide driveway. And that leads to the apparatus bay and the training tower. And the administrative portion of the building is to the left of that. That's right, in that area. Also in front of the building is a memorial area, which we plan to build the 9/11 memorial that the fire district was planning to build. That will also contain the flagpole. And then to the left of that is we have staff parking area, which contains the required handicap spaces and a couple of charging ports for EVs. There's some overflow parking in the back of the garage, in the back of the station that you can see in the back. That's where the dumpster will go. The site is a little bit tricky because it's got a high point that's about that rises about 10 feet above the road, Finney's Lane Road elevation, and it drops off towards the well, the fire district's well. And the grade change from one end of the building to the other is about 22 feet. So we're dealing with a lot of retaining walls in the back of the building. You see those as the large, the heavy border line. And we're dealing with basically trying to level the site. There's a rise to the right, to the neighbor on the right-hand side, and there's some retaining wall there to account for that rise. And at this point, I'm just going to turn it over to Ellen to show you the building, unless there's any specific questions about this site.
Hi, I'm Ellen Light. Erica, we did put in a newer drawing this that had some red lines on it. Do you know where I would find that? This one.
There you go.
Okay, so we put this drawing in to show the relationship of the building to Finney Lane. A question came to us within the last couple of days about staking out the location of the building, which was a bit difficult because of the logistics of it, the timing, and the fact that the existing building is still there. But the red lines indicate where the water department building is. You can see in the front the drop-off road, and you can see the L-shaped building that Steve described in the demo application. Our building is, the start of our building is 13. Can we zoom in on these numbers right here? Right. So our building, the water department building is 41'6" from the property line, and our building is 56, I think, 54.4. I think it's about 13 feet difference further back off the road than the existing building. So I just wanted to make that part clear. In order to
I'm sorry to interrupt, Ellen, but just Steve Rizzo again. The other thing that made it difficult in staking the site is primarily wooded. It's forested.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
if we had tried to put stakes in, you probably wouldn't see them.
Right.
I'm sorry, Ellen, for interrupting.
No, but I hope this is clear. Do people have any questions about the relationship of the new and the old buildings?
No. And then the parking lot is what, a 30-foot setback? Is that right? Am I reading that?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
We have a better site plan. We have Megan Tompkins here tonight, who is our landscape architect, and her office has done a lovely rendering of the site plan. And because it's in color, it's easier to read than these more technical drawings.
Mhm.
So I wonder if we can scroll to that one. It's the one that I can talk to this one if you want as we go by. These are renderings that we did of the project a couple of months ago. So I will say that the building still looks like this, but there are a couple of revisions. This does show how the landscape looks. And I would say the things that are a little bit changed from this, and it's really minor, is we have made a nicer looking training tower, which is the tall tower to the right in the garage area. We're very happy with the change with that. Also, you'll see in the landscape plan that there's a new memorial that'll be near the front. That's not yet in the rendering. So other than that, it's pretty close to what we had. So we're looking for a colored site plan. It's the one that I just sent before the meeting. And I have it on my screen, but I don't know if you're allowing sharing.
No, just give me one moment. I'll bring it up from the email.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Are there any renderings that show the retaining walls?
Not as well, not really, but as part of the application, we were asked to show products. And so there's some photographs that will give you a sense of what the retaining walls are. They're
Yeah.
modular block walls with fencing on top of it. And okay, so this is our site plan. I think this is probably easier for everybody to read. So as Steve explained, the garage is here on, can you see my cursor when I do that? Oh, maybe
No,
not.
they can't since I'm the one that's sharing. So if you can just point me in the right direction, I will do my
Yeah,
best.
you've got it. You've got it, Erica. Where it says 1841 Finney's Lane, that is the garage area where there will be 5 bays that will house the apparatus. The little box in the middle at the front, that's the training tower that you just saw in the rendering. And to the left is the administration building, which is higher than the garage because the garage has a flat roof and the administration building has a pitched roof. So in terms of the site plan, there's the front apron where, of course, the apparatus comes out to the street. And then there's a service drive to the right, which you can, yes, correct right there. And there's a rear apron. It's a pass-through garage, which means that they could either come out from the back or they could, depending on how the engines are stacked within the garage, they could pass through the garage and come out the front. That extra paving area alongside on the left side of the service drive is an area where the department will keep their training props. And we were sensitive to the look of the building and put an extra green space there, which will buffer the look of that area. We have plantings there, as you can see. See the little nub there at the start of yeah, right there. And so we have plantings there. As Steve said, the back has overflow parking. It has a fueling area. And then because of the grade drop, we do have a retaining wall there. We have right where Erica's got her cursor right now, that's the front retaining wall. In that area, we have a decorative fence, which would be a metal fence, a painted metal fence. We can look at the products that we're suggesting for you to take a look. And at the back retaining wall, which is really out of public view, we'll use a chain link fence. And then on the parking in the visitor and staff parking area, we also have a considerable grade drop between the back of the parking and the grassy area below. So we will have a retaining wall there as well. And that as well will have a decorative fence because it would be somewhat visible to the public, even though it's further back in the site. We have some utilities that we have here. We have a transformer that, of course, is required by the electric company, but it's pretty well back of the street. And there's some plantings nearby, and there's some protective bollards there. The emergency generator that you see in the back is really not visible at all. It's so much lower on the site grade-wise that it would not be viewed from the street. And then we have up at the front, near the front of the building where it says Firefighter Memorial, we are working with the chief for them to relocate the parts of the memorial that they already have at their existing station. And they'll be adding an extra granite bench, and it will be a very inviting area for ceremonies and for people to sit if they want. At this point, I don't know if you want, Megan, would you like to talk at all about plantings?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Tompkins. I'm a landscape architect from CBA, working with Context. We have developed a preliminary planting plan for the site. As you can see, there are street trees along Penny's Lane. Those will be native shade trees. There is a row of mixed evergreens and shrubs along the right property line, which is the property line that does have an abutter, really. And then there is concentrated, shrub and perennial planting. Apologies. I don't know if you guys heard that. Okay. Shrub and perennial plantings at the parking, at the memorial, and at the front of the building. Our preliminary planting plan is based on native and drought-tolerant species that are very appropriate for the Cape, and they're species that we've used at other Cape projects. Happy to answer any questions.
So I'm trying to get a feel for what it will look like if you're driving from, like, I guess, north to south on Finney's Lane, right? From the village to Hyannis. And that right wall is a retaining wall. How big is that wall? You know what I mean? Like if you go and you're passing, is it really visible? Are you going to see a big, huge, tall wall? It's great that there's plantings there, but I'm just trying to get a sense, envision in my head what that's going to look like.
This is Steve Rizzo. Wendy, the difference in elevation from the street to the high point of that retaining wall is about 6 or 7 feet.
Okay.
It's not that high. The retaining walls in the back are the ones that are very, very
Okay.
high.
That no one will see. Okay. And what about on the left side? What's that going to be like if you're driving the other way from south to north?
So
That
on the,
retaining,
oh,
yep, I'm
sorry.
sorry,
Go.
Megan, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no worries. So that retaining wall, the parking lot and Finney's Lane is actually on the high side, so the
Okay.
road will not see the retaining wall.
Okay. So it dips down there and they won't see it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. Great. Thank you.
I wonder at this point if you want to look at the product photographs to see what we're thinking for the type of a modular retaining wall with a fence on top. We do have some photographs. People interested?
Sure. I saw them before. I looked at them, but if
Oh,
others want to
okay.
see it and flash it, I don't know if others in the public have
Well,
seen it or not. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So this is a metal one. This is the more formal one that would be in the more visible parts of the project.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll have a choice of colors on the stone. It'll be a type of gray, but we'll blend that in well with the site, so we'll make it look appropriate and disappear. Should we move on to the building? People want to see that? Okay.
Actually, Ellen, if you could bring up the rendering that shows from the direction of
Yes.
the village, because we have the two renderings, even though they're not 100% up to date, you get a better sense of the building. Yeah.
Right. There was one other one, Erica. It's probably it. That's it. No, almost.
Uh-oh.
No, it's there. We'll find it.
I think it might be that number 2.
I think it's the number 2, and it's unfortunately not coming up. Let me close it out and retry to do it. 'Cause on my screen, it's black, so I'm assuming on everybody else's screen, it's black.
Yeah.
It is.
black.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me one moment.
Yep.
Okay.
The renderings that we're showing you are out of date. They don't reflect some of the latest changes on the elevations, which you'll see on the elevations, but this will give you a pretty good idea of the massing of the building and the context of the building.
This is Bette McCarthy. I was at the property this afternoon, and when you do the overlay of the existing building in red versus the new building, off to the south side, there's a significant drop in the land. Do you have to bring in fill to build that administrative part of the building?
This is Steve Rizzo. The answer is somewhat. We're taking advantage of that rolling grade, and the building will have a walkout basement in the rear, which you'll see on the elevations.
Okay.
So we're not going to fill all of that. We'll be filling some of it, but not all of it.
And I have another question. Is there a road to the south side, that hot bottom road? Is that going to be paved?
That road is currently paved down to the well. The fire district's well number 1 is down there.
Oh,
that is their access road. And it's going to remain as is.
Okay. As a country type road. Okay.
Yeah, but it is paved because they do bring trucks down that road to service the well.
But it's just single lane kind of.
That's correct. And it's only
right.
only paved down to the well. It's not paved beyond that.
All right. I have another question on the height of the buildings, the height of the administrative section, and also the height of the tower. I was concerned about that the height in this in this area driving along the road if this is going to be a massive structure, and will it fit in? That's my concern. I know I've driven all around the village, and I thought there's really no other location. I think that's for size wise where you could put this fire department building.
Ellen,
yeah, I think we should look at the elevations now, the colored elevations, because those are better to speak about the height. But we have broken down the scale of this building by a number of things. For one, I guess, Eric, you're looking for the other drawings, right?
there you go.
There we go, yeah. This is the side elevation, so I think we should start with the front. It must be right next to it.
There you go.
Okay, yeah. So the bottom elevation is the front of the building. Okay. And so there are many techniques we use to break down the scale. For one, we have this at the entry to the administration building, where you have a farmer's porch. So you're moving, it doesn't appear massive, we don't feel. We're also relocating the existing building sign on the existing station on Main Street. So that also takes up the space of this space above the second floor. So that attic space really is just part of the pitched roof and not really a space that will be used. And then we also put a cupola on the top, which we think has a nice village feel to it and people will enjoy. We also have done decorative things to break the scale. We have some trim pieces that you can see running across through the second floor windows. And around the windows, we have some traditional Cape type detailing where we have white trim around some black windows. And we have white corner boards and some white trim at the roof line. The material of the building is basically a stone base, a split face stone base with a precast cap on it. And then we have hardy plank, which is a cementitious board that looks like clapboard. It has a 7-inch dimension. And I thought we did submit the colors, the historic colors as requested. The base of the building will be a light gray, and the upper area will be a light green. And so with the paint color changing, we also feel we're breaking up the scale of the building. You can see the red doors. Well, we have the red door at the entry to call attention to the door and make it welcoming. And then we have red, what are called fourfold doors for the apparatus, where instead of opening up like your garage door, like an overhead door, it opens it opens horizontally, folds that way. And it will be glassy and have a nice look to it. And then you can see the training tower in the front. That's a fixed piece of glass at the base to recall the look of the fourfold doors, but it's a fixed piece of glass, and it's the stairs that go up to the training area. And then we have some windows to bring in some light, and also the seal of the fire department on there. And then top we have a clear story and a roof. And we were looking at in our own way, we were looking at Cape Cod lighthouses to kind of get that sense of it, but also to functionally meet the needs of the department. This training tower will be used for the staff to run up and down the stairs, and they have a confined training space up on the roof. And there's also a door on the side where they can do some practice work. And then we top this training tower with a weather vane that is that's a design from another department, but I'm sure we'll get a very good one for this as well. Um, that's a flat roof, but we purposely put a mansard, forgetting the word, Steve. Um, a mansard screen there at the front to mask the flat roof beyond to make it look appropriate to the neighborhood that has a lot of shed roofs, and also to really mask some of the function mechanical things that are happening beyond. So that screen is at the front of the building and at the side where the service drive is there, the side of that neighbor. So as you're coming from the village towards Hyannis, you won't see the guts of this flat roof beyond. Um, let's see, what else do we have? We have the windows. We have 4/1 windows. We think that has a nice traditional look to it. Happy with that. And
One thing, I'm sorry to interrupt you again, Ellen, but one
yeah.
thing that, to answer your question, but in terms of the size of the building, the front of the admin building with the peaked roof is very similar in height to the existing fire station on Main Street in the village. Yeah, in fact, it's almost identical.
Oh, I was going to ask that. So
the training tower is a little bit taller due to the functions of the nature of the tower itself, in that there are a number of higher rise buildings in the district that the fire department has to train on, and this gives them the space that gives them the height to simulate those structures. I'm sorry, Ellen. Back to
Yeah,
you.
no, it was good. It was good. If people have questions, or we can go look at the other elevations if you'd like.
I have, go ahead, Bet. I'll go after you.
Yeah, this is Bet. I have another question. Are the bays for the equipment, is that set back from the main administrative part of the building? Is there a setback there for where the equipment will be, the engines and so forth? Or is that flush all along straight?
It's not flush. There's a small setback. I would say it's about 5 or 6 feet, about 6 feet.
Okay.
You also should note that the farmer's porch projects forward of that.
Right. That should soften the.
Yeah, that's correct, Steve. I'm sorry, I should have said that. Yeah, so the whole thing might be about 15 feet. I'm guessing, looking at a plan right now, because I don't have the quite. It's about 15 feet, the front of the farmer's porch to the door of the apparatus bay.
Okay.
So in other words, it breaks up the front.
Yes.
The training tower also juts forward.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, the training tower juts forward about 6 feet.
Oh, all right.
Did you say the front of the administrative building down at the bottom, is that going to be stone? Is that what you said?
I said split face. It's split face, which is a type of block. It's a masonry block.
Is that just decorative, or is that there for a reason?
Well, it's also functional. It also helps with the longevity of the siding.
Rot
We do.
resistant.
What was
The
that,
what?
Brian?
It doesn't rot.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I don't know, from an aesthetic perspective, it's the best choice, just, from my perspective. And I have a whole load of other questions, and I don't want to take it. So you want me to
All
keep
right.
going with that, or?
This is bad. I don't have any more questions at the moment. So
Okay.
Wendy, go right ahead.
Yep. On the hardy board, you said they're 7 inches, which is pretty
Yes, ma'am.
wide, like on the homes that we see. I think they're typically maybe 5 inches. That seems like a very wide hardy board to me. My preference would be see something a little narrower. Just I think it fits in better with the homes in the area. The windows, I'd prefer to see 2/2. I think it's more traditional for the area. I don't think, I mean, we do see homes obviously with the 4/1, but I wouldn't call those more traditional. I think 2/2 would probably, in my view, be a better choice for the windows. And then what are those panel things above the doors?
So those are the cementitious board also comes in a plank. And so our thought was that maybe we would break up the scale of all of the clapboard by putting some panels in. And those could be the same color as the color above it. We're still working with that. But the idea was to change the texture a little bit to make it a little bit more interesting.
Okay. And the tower. So from my eye looking at the tower, it's got a little prison guard look to it. Um, is there anything that can be done like with the windows there? Maybe a little less glass, maybe some window panes in there. You know, it's like air traffic control, prison guardy type looking. Is there anything that can be done to that tower to make
You're
it
talking
look?
about the part where it's red at the top, where it's red?
Yeah,
Is that what you're
yeah.
talking about? Um, we could look at it more. What we feel that we lightened it up by making a choice to use aluminum mullions, which are light looking, so that it wouldn't look heavy. I think part of it is that the rendering, because it's gray, it does look heavy. So um,
Yeah, I mean, I went to the Brewster Fire Station. I looked at theirs. They have a similar tower, and they have like, grills in the windows up on their tower, a little bit more divided. I think it looks a little bit more appealing. This looks, a little stark to me. So that's something that I would like to see maybe a little different option on that. Let's see what else I have. We'll go to I have questions on the other elevations too. And so the doors, so those, I don't know obviously anything about fire stations. So are these like the option for fire station doors? Are these red?
yes, a lot of the stations are using them now because they're for two reasons. One, they're very fast. They're faster than the others. And two
Gotcha.
is the maintenance is easier because
Okay.
the springs in the overhead doors wear out
Okay.
quickly. So the chiefs have been wanting them. I think you'll find that they're using it in a number of stations on the Cape,
Yeah.
including nearby Hyannis.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And Brewster has them too. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
And I think my last comment on the front is the front door on the administrative building. Um, I, is there a different style we could use there? I'm trying to get more of the traditional feel to fit in with the neighborhood, and I don't think that hits it. So if there's anything else that can be done with that entry door, might be a little bit more for my eye appealing. So
We could look a little bit more on the proportions of the side lights. I think you tell me if you agree with me on this, but we were trying to keep it glassy because it brings more light into the lobby and because it looks friendlier to people as they come by. I mean, this may be a function of the rendering because it looks so gray. Sometimes architects render it with lots of colors because of the reflection on the glass. But the idea was to keep it, we don't want to put like a solid door because it isn't a house.
right,
And
right.
we want it to be
Yeah.
welcoming to the public.
Yeah, it's very modern looking, and again, it gets back to that more traditional Cape Cod. It's a very modern looking door, and anything that can be done, I think, to make it a little bit more traditional to fit in with the neighborhood.
Ellen, can I jump in here? It's the fire chief. So one of the things we were concerned about, Wendy, is that is our front lobby. So there's a big opening in there, and with the farmer's porch hanging over, we wanted as much natural light as we could get into that lobby. It's not a large space, so it doesn't have a lot of area for windows. So we were trying to make that the main entrance to the building have more light and bring natural light in, and kind of compensating a little bit for that overhang that we're putting on there. It also, keeps the people out of the weather when they're waiting to come in the front door. So that's kind of where we're going with that. And I truly believe that, something we can probably come up with some kind of compromise. But it is the reason we're going with a lot of glass in the front.
No, I get that. And there's probably some, other alternatives there. So, so that's it for me for now.
Okay. Thank you, Wendy.
Mhm.
Ryan, would you like to make some comments?
I have a bunch of comments. First, looking at the parcel, I mean, you get a multi-acre lot that today is wooded with a dilapidated wood structure, right? Serves a purpose, but as we discussed in the last hearing, that purpose is no more. I think second, you have a parcel that is about 1,100 feet away from almost not being in the district. So I think that weighs into it for me a little bit. I drive that road all the time. My opinions as far as this committee goes, I think that but what has to be satisfied to construct a building like this, and all of the requirements around it, and seeing the forethought go into this facility, so that it can sustain itself and, quite frankly, grow itself. I applaud that. I think that it's been a job well done. This is a thorny subject, I think, in any community, because we always want to maintain the aesthetic. But, my personal thought on this is so often, and the Cape reflects this, no matter what part of Cape Cod you're in, facilities like this, public safety facilities or public infrastructure, was built out when the population first arrived. And we get to a final, I'll say a build out as it became more residential. Through the 40s and 50s, Cape Cod saw that. In most communities, those facilities still exist, and they have been remodeled and added on to and remodeled. But you reach a tipping point when it comes to public serving infrastructure. And, I'm a resident of West Barnstable, not Barnstable, but these are facilities that I equate to commuter rail service. Everybody wants commuter rail service, but nobody wants commuter rail service. And I think facilities like this, the chief opened up with the suggestion that this facility will be around for 50, 60, 70 years. You get one shot to do this, so it's sustainable. The district that this fire department serves, we have to remember, while what we don't necessarily see near this facility, they have to respond to. And that's a very different Cape Cod than it was even 10 years ago, let alone 50 years ago. It will be a different Cape Cod 10 years from now. Options for land use are limited. I spent some time researching other projects that this team has completed, and it's difficult to marry the modern needs, and I emphasize needs because depending on your funding sources, you have to meet certain requirements. How you build it has to match a certain spec that a homeowner wouldn't have to meet. A commercial building standing alone wouldn't have to meet. You're forced to meet that. So I think this is a once in a generation lifetime to build out a facility that is going to meet the needs. And I think that this team's done a great job of balancing as best as they can the desire to keep it historically appropriate, also to serve the needs. So all I have for comments.
Okay, thanks. Leslie, did you get a chance to speak?
Not yet. I'm taking in everybody's opinions, and I do agree with Ryan. You gotta, it's gotta be pleasing to the eye, but most importantly, functional. I mean, I don't want to be burned alive in a house. I want something that's there that's going to help me. Yeah. So I agree with Wendy's. The tower does have that all I can think of is Brubaker with Robert Redford, and they have the tower shooting people. I wish they could put some, even if it's the 4/2 or something, to kind of change the look of it. That I would appreciate. I think that would make it look a lot more historic. I'm concerned about the color. Now, the bottom part's going to be gray and the top part green.
Yes.
Now, why?
We thought it would look good at this site because of the greenery there. You saw that earlier rendering that we did that showed the trees there.
Yeah.
We think these colors will look good in the context. We have used these colors before on another project and it was very well received and we were happy with it. So those are the basic reasons. We wanted to have two colors, as I said. We think the gray will be more at the eye level of somebody driving by or walking by. And the green just adds a little pop of color to it. We also thought it was a good foil to the red.
The building, the portion of the building on the left side, the administrative, the leftmost, that looks like it's a different color. Is that just the rendering is just off?
Yes, it's
Okay.
just the rendering.
Okay. Yeah.
And it may be those panels, I mean, we want it, of course, we're architects, so we want it to look great. We want people to think it's a good looking building. If people don't feel that those panels over the app bay doors, if they're, should blend in more, those could be another color. The point was that sometimes we put signage over the doors. In this particular project, we don't need to do that, but we wanted to break up the material a little bit. And so the panels seemed to be a good subtle way to change up the material a little.
It sort of reflects what some fire stations do, where they do engine number one and engine number two above the doors to each of their bays. But we didn't really want to go into putting signs above each door, and this sort of mimics that.
Yeah.
And also play with it a little bit with shadow lines, depending on, we can put more joints in the panels and change it up a little bit.
Well, I'm surprised Ryan didn't ask this question. Is the cupola lighted?
Yes.
Okay.
At least that's our intent, yes.
There you go, Ryan.
Leslie, I sort of question that green color too, whether it's too light of a color. I don't know. I was torn with it too.
Yeah.
I don't mind the gray so much, but
yeah.
Well,
or even a deeper gray.
Yeah.
Okay.
And green and red, I always think of ho ho ho.
So that's why we didn't make it bright green. Because we didn't want it to be ho ho ho. But we do want a little bit of interest there, a little bit of yin yang.
Is it like a grayish green?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Well, okay. I mean, you've done an unbelievable job. It really, oh, now on this rendering, it looks, the windows on the tower look different.
Yeah, because
that gives it a whole different look.
Correct. Because the idea is that the roof is supposed to look like it's floating over the tower. We want to keep it light looking, if we put heavy windows in, it's going to look chunky like a guardhouse. And we're trying to keep it looking light.
Yeah, well, it looks different than the other.
Yeah, I think it looks better too.
Yeah, that does. Because that kind of turned me off.
Right.
Thank you for putting a 9/11 memorial. I worked for American Airlines for 38 years. And all my friends were murdered on Flight 11, so thank you very much.
I'm so sorry.
And just a point to that, Leslie, this is the fire chief. We were actually gifted a piece of steel from FDNY.
Yes, yes.
A piece of impact steel. So we're going to be hanging that between two pillars. That's the,
Yeah.
if you remember, we put a design forward for the
Yeah.
current fire
Yeah.
station.
Yeah.
We're using that same design where we're in the new location. So that's going
And
to
you'll
be
have
kind
a
of the,
bench and all. That,
Yep,
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Just wanted to add about the cupola is that we did a similar cupola in a historic area of Andover, and we used a translucent glass in it so that when it's lit, it has a very soft glow and it looks very nice at night. You know, because it's a municipal, but it's a municipal building, and you want it to be somewhat of a landmark.
Uh-huh. Like
Yes,
the
this
courthouse
drawing
cupola.
What was that, Bet? I couldn't hear it.
Oh, you know, the courthouse in the village has
Yeah.
a light,
Yeah.
a cupola light there. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
This rendering in front of us, see that tower, that looks so different from the other rendering. That kind of gives it the prison look, but the other one looked nice. Wherever that
I think
one.
part of it is that the other drawing is it's hand drawing with, you know, different shading, hand shading, and in this one, it, you know, is a computer. You can simulate hand drawing, but this is, you know, a computer layer of a screen of green, and so
Well,
you
they
don't
look
see the
bigger
modeling.
and longer, so
Yeah.
the other one
Yeah.
look, if it's gonna look like the other one, I can live with that.
It's going to look more like this one in terms of proportion, because this one has more rectangular windows, which we thought would give more of an elongation. We were trying to get away from a chunky look.
But they're going to be clear as well, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that
Yes.
gets the idea of sort of the floating roof, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'd like to see something a little different there. I don't know. We could do it.
What about match them up to the little ones? What are they? She's like, I'm blind. Is it 4/2?
The ones below it, Leslie?
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
it the
2/2,
shallow
I think.
roof on the tower that's the problem? Is it because the roof line is so shallow? If it had a higher peak, would it have a little different feel?
I don't think we're going to be able to go any higher than this. We're already a little bit above. We're going to have to ask for variance. We're a few feet above what we
Okay.
should be. So I don't think we would go higher.
Well,
As far as doing the windows, the windows, sorry.
the cupola is higher, correct, than the
Yeah.
tower?
Yes, but I spoke to the planning board, and they said that they see the cupola as a decorative element, so they don't factor in that for height.
Okay. All right.
As far as, you know, we're happy to look at other options if that's what you're requesting. I would say that if you're thinking of swapping out one of these windows, a series of these windows for what we've shown, we're thinking these are curtain wall or storefront, which is a thin aluminum tube, and it has a lighter look than these windows, which are clad wood. They've got more of a sight line, and they're going to look heavier.
I think we'd have to see, you know what I mean? I think we'd have to see it. Yeah, it's hard to.
Okay.
Yeah, what's also a compromising factor in you looking at these is you'll be able to see all the way through the light, you know, the gray tone and the glass. makes it look like it's opaque, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's clear
Yeah,
and you'll see
yeah.
light all the way through it.
I think a lot has to do with this rendering. And thank you, Chris, for putting the decorative sign from the village fire station up there. That looks very nice.
Yeah.
I think that really looks good up there.
Thank you.
How
You
far
wanna-
does the porch come out? 6 feet or?
If we move over to one of the other rendering, trying to think if there's a rendering you can see it on.
Yeah, there it is.
Yep.
Okay.
So you can see it projects beyond the plane of the training
Yeah.
tower as well.
Yeah.
So this is the north elevation that goes along that driveway that goes into the back.
Yeah.
There is one change that we've already made, and you'll notice the cupola is kind of towards the front of the building. We've actually moved that back so that it aligns with the gable end of the admin wing. So if you go
Okay.
down, Erica, if you go down a drawing, you see the
Oh.
Yeah.
see the gable end. So the cupola will be back centered on that gable.
Okay.
Steve, this is an old drawing. Erica, we sent you a revision to this.
Yeah.
And the revised drawing does show the cupola in the right place, and it's
Yep.
a better alignment of the windows.
There we go.
There, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, on this north elevation, is there a reason why those windows are small like that? That's where the trucks and the equipment go, right?
Yeah, but the bay that's right next to those windows, that's inside the windows, is our maintenance bay. So that's where the trucks will be in on jacks, and they'll be elevated, or they'll be. So we'll have a lot of tools and things along the wall there. So
Oh,
we're
okay.
basically covering that up, so you don't see the ugly truck in pieces.
Yeah. Well, it's got to be functional.
Yeah, exactly. The good news is that's the face that faces the driveway to the north, and that is where we have all of those plantings that make that
Yeah.
barrier to
Yeah.
the neighbor
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
to the north.
Yeah.
Yeah. That will camouflage the flatness of the facade there.
Right, but you also still have that sloping mansard.
Yeah.
One other thing I'd like to point out, if you go back to the front elevation, Erica, on this revised drawing, if you look at the garage doors, you can see how light they are. And
Yeah.
I believe if we go back and we can make those windows on top of the training tower lighter, you'll see that there will be actually see-through. They're not smoked or frosted. And I think that would help the
Yeah.
visual of that tower. They'll be lighter, just, they'd be see-through. It's going to be, you'll be seeing daylight through the other end. It's glass all the way around.
Okay.
We were playing around with trying to make like a lighthouse style for that. We'll be training all the way in, all the way up to the top of that.
This rendering, you can also see the stair there, which is nice. You'll see the activity, and we could paint the rails of the stair a nice color as well.
I thought you went down a pole.
Well, that's in a different part of the building.
There is a pole in the building.
In the back.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm happy. Okay.
Yeah,
saw.
we have a pole in our fire station here that was put in the remodel in 99 2000. That was procured from a firehouse that went out of business, out of service. We got their brass pole. It's an antique pole. We are bringing it to the new station.
Oh, that's great.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is cool. Well, I think these renderings kind of do a disjustice to what you're aiming at, because what you have verbalized to us doesn't look like some of the renderings. So I'm kind of taking that at face value that you're saying. Chris just said the windows were all open, so all you see kind of is see-through glass on the tower.
Yeah.
And that's functional and probably good. I don't know.
On this elevation, hey, Erica, can you just go back to this one? So up one more. This one, yeah. So this side of the building is big, right? Because you can see down to the basement level. But when you're driving down Finney's Lane, I don't think that's visible. Is that correct, right? Because you have that retaining wall and that's kind of way down in that dip, right?
That's where the
Okay.
parking lot's going to be as well.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to be looking at, that parking lot, and then that 20+ foot drop. So you're not really going to see the basement level there from Finney's Lane.
Just to comment on the apron around the bottom, Wendy, just because you asked the question about the functionality of it. We like what it's there for is to protect for splashback, where rain coming off the roof hits the pavement and it splashes back onto the wall, and that really is there to protect the integrity of the structure. But also it'll help prevent that greenish algae growth that sometimes you'll see where the splashback occurs around the base of a building. And that's really what that function is for.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah. Is there a picture of that in the products list or no?
I don't think we put it in. They're making the block now in very nice colors because you have a gray base, but they put flecks of color in. So, but we don't know exactly yet because it's municipal work and it has to be public bid. I could go to my favorite manufacturer and show you something that I'm in love with, but I can't promise you we'd get it because of the competitive bid. But the split face also has a texture to it, so it's not smooth like ugly concrete block. It'll have a nice look to it. And then we put a precast cap on top, which pretty much dresses it up.
I've seen I've seen buildings with that on the bottom.
That block is supposed to look more like cobble than like a cement, like a bricks or cement.
Right.
It's supposed to look more natural, native kind of stone on the bottom.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
All right. Does the committee have any more questions? Do we see if there's anybody in the public? Does anyone have anything else to add or question?
All right, so it looks like Robert Furzy has something from the public to say. Bob, if you want to mute yourself.
Hi, folks. Sure. Just quickly, I want to compliment the architects and designers and the fire department for putting together a pretty amazing building. I mean, it's really, really hard to make a friendly institutional service building that's going to last 50 or 70 years and put it in a historic district and make everybody happy. That's just a phenomenal challenge. I think this thing is awesome. Some of the finer tweaks and comments are legit, and I get that. I think, Leslie, I think you hit it right on the head when you said maybe the the computerized renderings are doing the whole process a disservice in terms of your aesthetic response to them, because they're very harsh looking and they're not very friendly looking. I think the artist renderings that are drawn by hand are much better as a resource for making an evaluation of how this building is going to impact all of our feelings driving by it multiple times every day. I think it's going to be fine. I really do. And I don't like big buildings, so I'm very happy about how it looks. And I just wanted to make sure that some member of the public stood up and said hi and said, "Wow, this is pretty awesome." So thank you all very much.
Thanks, Robert.
Appreciate it.
This is Erica Brown. I do not see anyone else wishing to speak to this item at this time.
All right. In that case, are there any other committee comments, or do we feel comfortable enough to vote, or do we want to see another rendering, or with the comments that have been made, does everybody feel comfortable?
I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, I do too. I think the renderings are throwing things off. I feel comfortable.
Okay.
I'd like to see.
Wendy.
Yeah, I'd like to see changes. I mean, I'd like to see an accurate rendering. You know, I know the ones that we've seen aren't 100% accurate. And I totally understand that the elevations are kind of harsh looking, but I think, you know, I'd like to see a rendering that's complete with the way the windows are really going to look to make a decision. And I think the project is great, but the finer tune thing, you know, I'd just like to see.
Do you want them to make a little life-size?
No.
A small little model?
No, absolutely not.
No.
I think that the watercolor hand drawing gives the best representation. You know,
Yeah.
I think we're never going to achieve that using you know, computer rendered.
Yeah.
Ryan, you're talking about the hand rendering.
Correct.
Yes, that was great.
Yeah.
I like that look.
Yeah, I think you're never going to duplicate that with a computer, you know, drawn image. It's never going to look that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is bad. I feel much more comfortable with the, you know, with the color drawing than I do with the computer generated. So.
I think the landscaping is going to really add. It looks inviting.
Yeah. Well, that will soften the look of the building, and it will take away from massiveness of it. The landscaping is a key ingredient, I believe. So,
no, it's very good, and it gives it a character.
All right. Wendy, you still are uncomfortable, is that correct?
A little bit, yeah. It's a big project, right? And I want to make sure, you know, that we're all comfortable with it. Yeah, I think I'm not opposed to this thing at all. I think you know, clearly the fire department has made a case for it. But yeah, I mean, I would like to see any additional changes, like to the tower. You know, the hardy boards are awfully wide. Do we make them thinner? You know, I don't know what others think. If others disagree with me, that's fine, you know. But you know, the window
Can
choice.
hardy boards be made like 5? Because the 7 that is big.
Yeah.
Is there a specific reason they chose that size?
This is the size that we use in our other stations as well because of the scale of the building. I mean, it isn't a house. It's a larger building than that. And we feel that that's appropriate for this type of building.
Okay.
I think with the setback involved too, that 2-inch additional material is going to be hardly noticeable.
Yeah, given the size. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
One last thing about this is the chief again. One last thing about the setback is just to notice the front of that building is going to sit almost 75 feet off of Finney's Lane.
Yeah,
So it's really, the building's not going to be front and center on that.
yeah,
You know, and we've tried really hard to hide a 30,000 square foot building in a residential area. It's not the easiest thing, and the hard work by the architects have really softened the building up a lot, and we're really happy with how it came out. But the other side of it is 75 feet off of the main road as you're driving by.
Okay.
yeah,
This is Steve Rizzo. The last comment I'll make about the weather edge of the hardy plank. If we go to 5 inch, where we have the very long walls, it'll look very it'll look very long. It'll add to the linearity of
yeah,
it.
yeah,
The wider
yeah, yeah,
exposure will cause those long walls to not look quite so long.
yeah,
Now I know it doesn't quite show
point.
that in the front rendering, but I think that's
Yeah.
more likely. But here's what I'd like to propose. Ellen, we have some photographs with these colors of some other buildings that you've done. Maybe what we should do,
Yes.
put a few of those photographs together and submit them to the committee for their help in understanding what we're looking at in terms of real life colors and textures. Wendy, would that help?
Yeah, that would be super helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not opposed to it. I just, some of this stuff it's hard to envision, because we
That's
don't
right.
do a lot of big, huge buildings like this. So I want to be sure we do it right.
It's
Could you
not
make-
too far to, I'm sorry.
I was wondering if you could make them available to Wendy, and we could stop in to town hall to see them.
I was also going to suggest you might want to go see the Hatchville station in Falmouth, which we're just completing, and that has the 7-inch hardy plank. But as I said, we have many projects that have used this material for its siding and used this dimension, and it seems appropriate for this type of building and the scale of building because it's a very different scale than someone's house.
Yeah. No, that made sense that it would be bigger and more it would break it up. Those long, thin things. I see it right now. That's for the best.
If
Yeah.
I
All
could,
right.
as someone
All
who
right.
spends a lot of time trying to
Yeah.
make the best use of public money.
Right.
I think that we've heard enough to not slow down the process. With all due respect to the consultants and the folks that have worked on this, you're very expensive. I mean that with the utmost respect.
Yeah.
I think putting forward the additional information as informational, I think that's great. That's important. Personally, ultimately, the question is what is presented tonight. Would you vote yes or no? I think that the other stuff can come with it, but I think it's a shame to further hamper the efforts of cost escalation due to material costs. But the next time we meet, there's a big change that could change that whole picture. And as someone who pays taxes in the town of Barnstable, I see no reason to delay a vote based on watercolors versus computer drawings. Just my
All right. Well, thank you, Ryan, for that input. I know Wendy's a little uncomfortable, but I think 3 others of us are comfortable enough to take a vote. Is there a time issue on getting this approved?
No, there is not. No, obviously we don't want it to take months, but if it means we have to come back with some photographs at your next meeting, that would be fine.
How does the rest of the committee feel about that? Ryan, are you ready to vote, or would you like to wait until our next meeting?
I'm ready to vote. I feel like waiting for the next meeting is going to further put the risk of cost increases on the table. We have to be very aware of where we're at in history.
Okay.
And every week that goes by, you're
All
crossing.
right. Leslie.
I'm ready to vote now.
Okay. Wendy.
I will vote, especially given there's been no public comment at all. But if we could, I would like to see informationally, like I can vote, but I would love to see some of that stuff if it was dropped off at town hall and I could, just go look at it just to satisfy my curiosity. I would be fine with that and do the vote.
Okay. Great. All right. And I also feel comfortable enough to go forward with a vote this evening. So in that case, why don't we close the public hearing portion of this application?
Okay, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to close the public hearing.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
All right, and a roll call vote. Ryan Caholen.
Aye.
Leslie Wallace.
Aye.
Wendy Shuck.
Aye.
And Bette McCarthy, aye. So now we need a motion to approve this application.
Okay, so I can we'll just do a regular approval, not with any contingencies, right? And Erica, you can just let me know when the stuff is, okay,
Yep.
great.
They can either email it to me and I can send it forward to the committee, or if they want to drop it off, I can let you know when you can come and view.
Perfect.
Can it be forwarded to us, Erica, so I don't have to make the trip?
No worries, Leslie.
Thank you.
All righty. This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to approve the certificate of appropriateness application for the Barnstable Fire District, 1841 Finney's Lane, Barnstable, map 277, parcel 006, built in 1940, as submitted.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
All right, a roll call vote. Wendy Shuck.
Aye.
Ryan Caholen.
Aye.
Leslie Wallace.
Aye.
And Bette McCarthy, aye. So I hear, I wonder if there's going to be a Dalmatian at the firehouse.
Probably not.
At least there should be a statue of one.
Sure.
I think let me just add that we've had a number of outreach sessions to the public in the district. And the chief is having one more on Saturday at Sturgis Library for anyone who wants to come. It's coffee with the chief at the Sturgis Library. Chris, that's at 10 to 12?
10 to noon, yes. Coffee from Nirvana.
Okay. All right.
You're welcome. You're welcome to come, but I know you can't come as a committee.
Oh, maybe that could add to the fun of the firehouse, have a little coffee shop in there. Sorry, I said that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for
Appreciate
your time.
all your help.
Thanks, Chief Steele.
All right.
You're welcome.
Okay. I don't believe we have any minor modifications.
Point of order, Bette. I just want to circle. Sorry, Bette, point of order. I'd like to circle back to the application that the applicant didn't appear. I don't see them on for 91 Calf Pasture, so it is up to the committee if you felt there was enough information in the application to make a determination, or if you would like to continue the application.
Okay.
I can share the application if you'd like.
Yeah.
They're proposing to change the current roofs on the house and the garage to a
metal roof on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments regarding that?
I mean, I don't really have any questions, and given the location, I don't really. I take no exception.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Yeah, I think the shingle roof is great, but I agree,
Yeah.
given the location, it's so far off the beaten path,
Yeah. I know from homes along the water, they sometimes have a lot of issues with wind, and this metal roof should be a better protection if you're on the water and there's strong winds. So
Yeah.
I know that other people have changed to that because of it. So in the location, I feel is so far off the beaten path, I don't have any issues with it either.
And I think the color's nice too.
Right.
Now, these are all matte, right? They're not
They're all what, Leslie?
matte.
Matt, yes.
No,
Yes.
not shiny.
Yes,
Right.
yes, right.
Okay, yeah. No, I that's a nice color. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, Eric, thank you for catching that. Why don't we go ahead and have a motion to accept that then?
Okay.
First, point of order first.
We
close the
didn't
public
open a
hearing.
public hearing, did we? Yes, we did.
No, we did. We just
We
moved
did.
this item
Okay.
to the end. So
Okay.
Wendy, if you can make a motion to close the public
Close
hearing,
it?
and
Public
then we can have a motion to accept.
Okay, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to close the public hearing.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
All right, thank you. And Leslie Wallace, roll call vote.
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
and Bette McCarthy, aye. So then we need a motion to approve removing the cedar roof and installing the metal.
Okay, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to approve the certificate of appropriateness application for Justine Assange Lafharn, 91 Cabs Pasture Lane, Barnstable, map 259, parcel 001/003, built 2003 as submitted.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
and Bette McCarthy, aye. All right. Our
One
next.
more point of order, but real quick.
Yes.
We
Sorry.
just need to accept the withdrawal request for 30 or Second Way, please. So if we can just have a motion to accept that withdrawal.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
We don't have to open the public hearing or anything
No.
like that? No?
No, that's fine. We can just accept the withdrawal.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to accept the withdrawal request from Martha Groom, 34 Second Way, Barnstable, map 319, parcel 003, built in 1940.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
And a roll call vote. Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
and Bette McCarthy, aye. So, all right. So, Erica, did we cover everything now?
Yes, you have covered everything. We can move on.
All right.
There was no minor modifications, no extensions.
Yeah.
The minutes I placed in the wrong folder, so I apologize for that. So if we can have them in the next meeting in January, I'd appreciate it.
All right. So then we need a motion to adjourn.
Yep. This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to adjourn today's meeting Wednesday, December 18th, 2024.
Second, Leslie Wallace.
Great. Roll call vote. Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Leslie Wallace,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Bette McCarthy, aye. So